Hi, I'm Brian Still. I'm the director of the Usability Research Lab at Texas Tech University, and I'm also the president of a new startup company called Grinbath that's made an effective, low-cost eye tracker. Now you'd think, since I'm the president of a new company that's made a new eye tracker, that I would say that whenever you can, in all situations, you should do eye tracking, and that eye tracking can be used by itself for all those situations. But that's not what I'm going to say. There are many instances when we work in our own lab at Texas Tech where we don't do eye tracking, or there are instances where other technologies or tools can work just as well. But there are some instances, some situations where eye tracking works really well, especially if it's used with other sorts of tools that you may have at your disposal. So the question is, when is it best used, or what situations does it not work so well in? I'd like to take just a few minutes to talk to you about a few situations where eye tracking can really help you expand your data that you use to try to gather understanding and research about users. So let's just take a look at a few examples, and as I do that, I'll show you how we use eye tracking to look at that information. It's great for reducing intrusions, such as what happens with concurrent think aloud protocol. Once users are set up and calibrated, they can work without interference. As far as interference goes, such as what happens during think aloud protocol, which often leads to cognitive activity that's not normal, eye tracking avoids this too. People aren't doing something that might lead to something we sometimes call contrivance, where they're either trying to please us by talking to us about what they think we want to hear, or our talking to them interferes with what they're doing. Eye tracking doesn't have any sort of intrusions like that. Users are able to work and we record what they see. Eye tracking is great also for reading comprehension. In fact, when eye tracking was originally created, it was designed for reading comprehension, and the way it works is very simple. When you look back at what people have been looking at during eye tracking, smooth, easy progression across text means better comprehension. But if the user's gaze is going back and forth across text or regressing, this indicates comprehension problems, something, again, think aloud protocol wouldn't easily catch. It's increasingly valuable too for mobile device testing. Distractions, not just of the screen but also of the environment, are apparent when doing eye tracking more so than other sorts of methods. Ultimately, probably the best thing eye tracking does is that it allows us to understand what is and is not attracting the user's attention. We can find out where they're looking, what draws their eyes initially, and what holds their attention. And just as importantly, what doesn't. Think aloud protocol can't do that as effectively. Often users are talking about things not even on the screen, or talking about what they did or saw, not what they are actually doing or seeing. Despite showing you all that, it's interesting, many people don't believe in the value of eye tracking. I think part of the reason why is because most eye tracking up to this point has been very expensive. So if you're going to buy it, you feel like you need to use it all the time. And then when you do, you feel like the results aren't what you want given the cost. But that's no longer the case with eye tracking. It is affordable, and you can integrate it in certain situations. I would say don't use it by itself. Like any good usability research, triangulate. It is something that can be used. It has a place where it can be put into use, especially with the sort of testing that we do, which is increasingly complex. And so usability testing needs to have as many tools at its disposal, and eye tracking is one of those that adds a certain degree of information that can't be had with other sorts of technologies or tools or methods. So I would say, given the fact that it can be affordable now, and that there are certain things that it does better than other things, there is no other tool that does as good a job at telling you where users are looking than eye tracking. So think about ways that you can incorporate it. Don't try to make it do everything. Don't try to do it just by itself. Find ways to make it be another part of that triangulation of data that you're always gathering to understand your users. I'm Brian Still. I'm the president of Grinbath. Thanks.